Welcome to everyone. If you're watching this after we've been live, you can move up mark, which is when we will formally get started. Today we are going to be practicing meditation together. We are going to be looking at the teachings of Ajahn Buddhadasa and hopefully bringing some peace and well-being and wisdom into our life. Hey Anna, Jacob, Jordan, hi there, Sleepy, welcome in. Hey there, Ricardo. Like usual, we'll take about 10 minutes for people to join in. Hello, Truth and Wisdom. Hey there, VL. Hey there, DB. So another 5 minutes and then we'll get started. Taking this time to settle in, finding a comfortable position for our body, bringing up the intention to listen deeply, to turn inward, to show up with a lot of sincerity and heart. Hello, Chesh, welcome. Okay, Sleepy, enjoy your lunch. Hey, this. Someone joining us in person. Hello, ciao, buongiorno. You speak English?
If you speak slowly, I can understand.
Okay, I will try to speak slowly. But you can sit anywhere and get comfortable. You can use a cushion. Or that over there is a good way to sit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a helpful way. So I share my teaching online. So some people watch online.
Where?
On a YouTube. Yeah, through a YouTube. So we're just about to get started. This your first time meditation?
I did just with Gemi.
Oh, with Gema.
Maybe it's the fourth time.
Oh, great. Okay. So we start with a reading. We were reading something, but you can just try to listen. Maybe cannot understand, but your breath. Okay. All right, so very sincere welcome to everyone who is joining online. And what is your name? Francesca. And welcome to Francesca. So let's start our group practice together with just a few moments, a few minutes of turning inward, beginning to focus on our breath, finding a comfortable position for our body, maybe wiggling around a bit and finding that comfortable, suitable position. Taking a few deep breaths, 3 or 4 deep breaths. Following the breath as it comes in and goes out. Feeling the breath in the body. The presence, the feeling of having a body. Perhaps feeling the weight, the heaviness, gravity on the body. As we breathe, really settling into our body, into this space. Into this practice of looking inward and listening deeply. Breathing and being aware. So we'll go ahead and start with our reading. We can maintain this practice of being with the breath, being with the body, as we continue with the teachings of Ajahn Buddhadasa on natural concentration, naturally arising awareness. To come to know the true nature of things is the true objective of every Buddhist. It is the means by which we can liberate ourselves. Regardless of whether we are hoping for worldly benefits, wealth, position, and fame, or for benefits in the next world, such as heaven, or for the supra-mundane benefit of nirvana, the fruit of liberation. The only way to achieve it is by means of this right knowledge and insight. We thrive on insight. In the texts, it is said that we become purified through insight, by looking inward, by clear seeing, and by no other means. Our path to freedom lies in having the insight, the clear vision, that in all things there neither is nor has ever been anything at all of value, nothing to attach to, nothing to hold on to. We have things and are things only in terms of worldly relative truth or created truth, story truth. But in our direct moment-to-moment experience, in our awareness here and now, there is no story. There is no created truth. There is only this impermanent nature. experiences, sensations, feelings arising and passing away. Commonly, we say we are this or that just because in any society it is skillful to identify with names and occupations. But we must not believe that we really are this or that, as is assumed on the level of relative truth. To do so is to behave like crickets, which, when their faces become covered with dirt, become disoriented and muddled and bite each other until they die. So sometimes we do have our faces covered in dirt. We do have this difficulty, this complicated situation. We feel confused. But if we are able to rely on our mindfulness, our presence, our showing up, we can have mud on our face. We can be caught up in thinking and thoughts, but instead of biting each other, instead of biting ourselves, we can wash up, we can wake up, we can clean up through this awareness. We humans, when our faces become covered with dirt, when we are subject to all sorts of delusions and desires, become so bewildered and disoriented that we act contrary to how we would if we could see under ordinary circumstances, even killing, for example. So let us not go blindly clinging to relative truths or story-based ideas. Allow us to not continuously grab onto stories about ourselves, about others. So let us not go blindly clinging to relative truths that are essential for what this body and mind really is, what its true nature is. In particular, we have to be aware of its impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-selfhood, and make sure we always remain non-attached to it. Let us regard these two as relative truths, so that we can break free from the custom of saying, this belongs to so, that belongs to such and such. The law watches over ownership rights for us. There is no need for us to cling to the idea of mine. So there's no idea for us to get into these ideas about this is for me, this is mine, this belongs to me. Identifying ourselves with experiences, identifying ourselves with objects. There simply are things, there are experiences. We ought to possess things purely and simply for the sake of convenience and ease, and not so that they can be master over our mind. When we have this clear knowledge, things will become our servants and slaves, and we shall use rather than be used by them. So using only. We use our car, use our phone, we use where we live, but we are not used by it. We are not attached to it. It's a using only, doing only, showing up now. Sometimes things get covered with mud, to wash off, to rinse off, using only, doing only. We don't need to constantly be thinking about, oh, but my face was covered with mud. Oh, this is my robe, this is my temple, this is my meditation, this is my car, this is my money. Using only, doing only, moment to moment, direct. Not getting caught up in attachment to, getting entangled by the fact that we like certain things. If our thoughts go the way of craving and attachment, we become conscious of having so-and-so and being so-and-so, clinging firmly to these ideas, things will use us. We will spend our lives striving to gain and fearful of losing possessions, fame, wealth, or whatever. And we will become servants and slaves under their control. The tables can quite easily be turned so we have to be careful. We have to arrange things in such a way that we are sure of staying independent and on top of things. If we don't, we will surely find ourselves in a most unenviable position when what we were attached to passes away, as all things must. So everything that we like, our beauty, our money, possessions, everything, it can be useful. Our car is useful, money is useful, clothes are useful, but they do not belong to us. The smartphone, the possessions that we have, they do not belong to us. So we don't fall into this, we use, but we don't fall into this trap that this is mine, because it's not. It's impermanent. Even your body is not yours. Your body is going to turn to bones in a relatively short time. So that's this practice of using only and recognizing the reality that, sure, we may like our car, we may like our computer, our technology, we may like being a monk, but it does not belong to us. Our money, our wealth, our home, none of it, our relationship, does not belong to us. It may last time, it may last until we are dead, but it does not belong to us, and we cannot keep it. So keeping that quite vividly in mind, when we have this clear knowledge, things will become our servants and slaves, and we shall use rather than be used by them. So when we have this clear knowledge that we cannot keep anything, nothing belongs to us, then we can use things. We can use technology. We can use our wealth to be skillful, but not to be attached to it. However, our thoughts go the way of craving and attachment, so that we become conscious or have this feeling of having so-and-so and being so-and-so, clinging firmly to these ideas. Things will use us. So if we are attached to something, if we have the idea of this is mine, I own this, we will be used by it. We will be slave to it. We will spend our lives striving to gain and fearful of losing possessions. So it is struggle to get more and fear to lose what we get. So we will spend our lives striving to gain and fearful of losing possessions, fame, wealth, or whatever. And we will become servants and slaves under their control. The tables can quite easily be turned in this way, so we have to be very careful. We have to arrange things in such a way that we are sure of staying independent and on top of things. If we don't, we will surely find ourselves in a most unenviable position when what we were attached to inevitably passes away, as all things must. When we have really come to perceive clearly that nothing is worth getting or being, wholesome detachment with the world develops in proportion to the intensity of our insight. This is a sign that clinging has become less firm and is starting to give way. So our ability, our intensity of clear seeing that nothing belongs to us and nothing is worth getting develops, so too will our ability to have this wholesome detachment, this way of using only. So we are wholesomely detached. It's not rejecting anything, but it's having an experiential understanding that what we have is impermanent and does not belong to us. This is a sign that clinging has become less firm and is starting to give way. It is a sign that we have been slaves for so long that the idea of trying to escape has at last occurred to us. This disenchantment and disillusionment occurs when one becomes fed up with one's own stupidity in grasping and clinging to things. As soon as disenchantment has set in, there is bound to come about a natural, automatic process of disentanglement, as if a rope with which one had been tightly bound were being untied, a rinsing out, as when the dye that had been firmly fixed in a piece of cloth is washed out by soaking it in the appropriate substances. This process whereby clinging gives way to a breaking free from, dissolving out from the world, or from the objects of clinging, was called by the Buddha emancipation. This stage is most important. Though not the final stage, the most important step towards complete liberation. When one has broken free to this extent, complete liberation from suffering is assured. So once we really let go of this idea totally, that getting something and being something is going to bring us happiness and fulfillment, once we let go of that, liberation is assured. But to totally let go of it, to really break free from this clinging, this attachment, this disenchantment, this non-attachment to experience, pleasurable or otherwise. Once freed from it to forms and feelings and ideas, one need never again be a slave to the world. One becomes pure and uncontaminated, where previously one was defiled by grasping, anger, and ignorance. To break free from slavery to the delightful tastes of the world without grasping is to achieve our pure and natural condition. This real purity, once it has been attained, will give rise to a genuine calm and coolness, free from all turbulence, strife, and torment. This state of freedom from oppression and turbulence was called by the Buddha simply peace. It is stillness, coolness in all situations. One way of experiencing a kind of nirvana in very life. So that state of stillness, coolness, is a kind of nirvana in this very life. So in meditation, we really learn to value and appreciate this being still, being cool, being open to our natural state of calm. Nirvana has been translated as absence of any instrument of torture. Taken another way, it means extinction without remainder. So the word nirvana has two very important meanings. Firstly, absence of any source of torment and burning. Freedom from all forms of bondage and constraint. And secondly, extinction with no fuel for the further arising of suffering. The combination of these meanings indicate a condition of complete freedom. There are several other useful meanings for nirvana. It can be taken to mean the extinction of suffering, or the complete elimination of defilements, or the state, coolness, realm, or condition, that is, cessation of all suffering, all defilements, and all karmic activity. Though the word nirvana is used by numerous different sects, the sense in which they use it is often not all the same. For instance, one group takes it to mean simply calm and coolness. because they identify nirvana with deep concentration. Other groups even consider total absorption in sensuality as nirvana. The Buddha defined nirvana as simply that condition of freedom from bondage, torment, and suffering, which results from seeing the true nature of the worldly condition in all things, and so being able to give up all clinging. It is essential then to recognize the very great value of insight into the true nature of things, and endeavor to cultivate this insight by one means or another. So to recognize the value in clear seeing, to recognize the value in not just understanding impermanence, not just understanding Buddhism from an intellectual point of view, but to look, to train, explore the experience of impermanence, that we truly cannot keep anything. We cannot hold on to anything. So when we look, when we practice meditation, we are developing that insight, that clear seeing into the nature of things. And this naturally allows us to give up, to let go of this false idea of becoming, this false idea of, if I get this, I'll be happy. No, you will not. You'll be suffering. And we do this, we look into our nature, into the true nature of things through a method of meditation, a method of introspection. Using one method, we simply encourage insight to come about of its own accord, naturally, by developing day and night the joy that results from mental purity, until the qualities we have described gradually come about. The other method is practice. This latter technique may be appropriate for people with a certain kind of disposition, and some may make rapid progress with it if the conditions are right. But we can all practice the development of insight by the natural method in all circumstances and at all times, just by making our own way of daily living so pure and honest that there arises in succession spiritual joy, calm, insight into the true nature of things, disenchantment, withdrawal, escape, purification from defilements, and then the peace of nirvana, coolness. In this way, we come to get a taste of freedom from suffering steadily, naturally, day by day, month by month, year by year, gradually approaching closer and closer to total freedom, to inner perfection, to nirvana. Practicing this way of living a pure life, by practicing living a wholesome, gentle, sincere, patient life, where we're not getting ourselves worked up into big ideas or striving or clinging or struggle. Summing up the path of natural concentration and insight, we can see how it enables a person to attain nirvana and liberation by verifying all day and every day the truth of the statement that nothing is worth getting or being. Anyone who wishes to experience this liberation must strive to purify themselves and to develop exemplary personal qualities. From this purity, they will find in themselves a spiritual joy in both work and leisure. This very joy induces clarity, mental calm and stillness, and serves naturally and automatically to give the mind the ability to think and introspect. With this introspection arises the insight that truly nothing is worth getting or being, and the mind loses all desire for the things it once used to grasp at and cling to. It is able to break free from the things it used to regard as me and mine, and all blind craving for things ceases. Suffering, which no longer has anywhere to lodge, dwindles away, and the job of eliminating suffering is done. This is the reward, and it can be gained by any one of us in a natural way. This inner peace, beyond grasping, beyond identifying any experience or object as me or mine, is the culmination of the path of purification, the true liberation of the Buddha. So, this inner peace, beyond grasping or getting, beyond identifying any experience or object as me or mine, so any idea that you have about yourself, anything that you like, any keep or to have. This inner peace beyond grasping, beyond identifying any experience or object as me or mine. So we have thoughts, we have sensations, experiences, but not identifying any of those as me or mine, is the culmination of the path of purification, the true liberation of the Buddha. In order to complete our discussion of insight training, we must also here take note of the organized systems of insight training which were not taught by the Buddha, but were developed by later teachers. This kind of practice is suitable for people at a fairly undeveloped stage. Those who still cannot perceive the unsatisfactoriness of worldly existence with their own eyes naturally. This doesn't mean, however, that the results obtained by these systems have any special qualities not obtainable by the natural method. Because when we examine the scriptures closely, we find the natural method is the only one mentioned. So there are schools and there are traditions that push for an organized system of intensive meditation practice. And you do from one level to the next, developing over time. You very intense, very concentrated. It is an organized system of applying yourself over time to greater and greater degrees of intensity. Buddhadasa here says that the results obtained by these systems do not have any special qualities not obtained by the natural method. And that when we examine the traditional Buddhist texts, we find that the natural method is the one that was taught by the Buddha. So this natural method of leaning into and showing up to our life through this natural concentration, this natural seeing, this natural calm mind, this natural awareness. Being with that natural concentration, not struggling, not intensifying, but allowing ourselves to be. And when we practice meditation, it's a very pure activity. We simply are sitting and being with our breath, our mind, our natural concentration, our natural awareness. And Buddhadasa really speaks strongly about this, that this is the only method mentioned in the traditional sutras, the traditional Buddhist teachings. Some people found it difficult to understand the natural method, or believed that natural insight could be developed only by someone who had become so remarkably virtuous or had such a suitable disposition that for them to come to a full understanding of things was just child's play. What was a person to do who lacked transcendent virtues and the disposition? For such people, teachers laid down ordered systems of practice, concise courses which start from scratch and have to be followed through thoroughly and systematically. These systems of practice for developing insight are now known by the technical term vipassana. Vipassana, or insight, is contrasted with study or intellectual learning. the two being considered nowadays complementary aspects of training. Vipassana is study done within. It is strictly mental training. Vipassana is mentioned directly in the scriptures, both appearing only in later books. But Vipassana is nevertheless a genuine Buddhist practice, designed for people intent on eliminating suffering. It is based directly on sustained, concentrated introspection. In order to explain Vipassana to people, teachers in former ages considered it in terms of the following questions. What is the basis, the foundation of Vipassana? What are the characteristics by which we may know that this is Vipassana? Just what is the activity called Vipassana? What should be the ultimate result of Vipassana? Asked, what is the basis, the foundation of Vipassana? We answer, morality and concentration. So 100% of the Buddhist path, so much of the Buddhist path, so much of developing our mind and creating peace and letting go of suffering, transforming suffering path is very simply morality and concentration. Living ethically and having this refinement of mind, this tuning in practice of being attentive, brightly aware. Vipassana means clear insight and refers to the unobscured vision that may arise when a person's mind is full of joy and devoid of any defilement. Joy develops when there is moral purity. Morality is a prerequisite. This is stated in the Buddhist scriptures, where the practice is described as preceding a series of stages called the 7 purifications, and culminating in nirvana. Teachers regard the attainment of moral purity as the first of the 7 purifications. When it has been perfected, that is, when tranquility of bodily activities and speech has been achieved, the result is bound to be mental tranquility, conducive in its turn to the further stages of purification, which are freedom from misunderstanding, freedom from doubt, knowledge as to what is the path to be followed and what is not, knowledge and vision of the progress along the path, and finally, full intuitive insight. These last 5 stages constitute Vipassana proper. Purification of conduct and mind are merely the entrance to the path of Vipassana. Currently, insight by organized training is being taught by many Buddhist teachers. The practice consists of first concentration exercises such as mindfulness of breathing, followed by Vipassana or insight practices, or in some systems, formal meditation which begins with insight training from the first. In pursuing organized training, the meditator will usually go to a special retreat center or into isolation for a period of time. During their retreat, their life will consist of nothing but the intensive practice of meditation, trying to develop enough concentration and mindfulness to balance the mind and to come to experience the supra-mundane, the liberation of nirvana. When a meditator practices in intensive isolation setting or by the natural method, eventually they must come to an automatic integration of Vipassana and mindfulness in their daily life. Truly, the wise person has no past and future. They see that freedom lies in understanding that there is nothing to be lost nor gained, nothing to get and nothing to be. May this understanding be the cause for the true happiness and liberation of all beings. So truly the wise person has no past or future. They see that freedom lies in understanding that there is nothing to be lost nor gained, nothing to get and nothing to be. May this understanding be the cause for the true happiness and liberation of all beings. So, that is insight by the nature method from Buddhadasa. At this time, let's take a moment to make sure that we are comfortable. Maybe adjust our position a bit. And keeping in mind that wisdom that we're not trying to get anything. Nothing is worth getting. In meditation, we're not trying to become something. We're not trying to get rid of something. But to be mindful, to be present, to tune into our natural concentration, our natural state of being aware. So finding a comfortable position for the body, bringing our focus and our attention onto the breath. Feeling of the breath coming in, filling up our lungs. The breath coming in and going out. Taking up the method of being naturally aware, naturally present to the whole of our experience. Physical sensations, thoughts, desires, fear, showing up to the whole of our experience, being aware. But instead of the usual way where we are trying to get something, moving toward something, or we are trying to move away from something or trying to get rid of something, for our meditation, simply noticing thoughts and feelings and physical sensations come up. We experience them. Noticing, experiencing all kinds of things, and then returning back to the breath. The feeling of the breath coming in and going out. And as the mind calms and settles on this practice of breathing, letting go of even breathing and simply being aware. The breath is happening. The body is here. Just being aware. We will begin and end this practice of meditation together with the sound of the bell. So our meditation is not to be perfect. It's not to have some special experience, but to turn our attention inward, to be with the breath, to be aware, to be present to our experience, moment to moment. Beginning and ending with the sound of the bell. Don't be shy about taking a deep breath. If you run into any kind of difficulty or trouble in your meditation, you can always take a deep breath, gathering the mind, bringing ourselves to the body, to being aware. Breathing and showing up. noticing thinking mind, noticing thoughts, stories, but not believing in them, not getting involved, simply noticing and returning back to the breath, returning back to this open, gentle nature. This open awareness. Whatever we are experiencing, whatever worries us, whatever pleases us, is totally and completely impermanent. Whatever arises will naturally fall away. We don't need to struggle or fight to get rid of anything. Simply breathing and being aware, accepting the whole of our experience. If we are aware of something, we can know for sure that it will pass away. Anything that we become aware of passes away. So breathing and allowing this process of arising and passing away to happen naturally without interference. At this time, we will practice metta, practice loving kindness. So repeating after me, either internally or externally, but repeating after me with your sincerity, your heart, these words of loving kindness, directing these words towards ourselves. May I be at peace. May I feel safe and comfortable. Putting our heart and our sincerity into these words, directing them towards ourselves. May I be safe and comfortable. May I be totally safe. May I be free from fear. May I be totally free from fear. So without excuses, without a reason, we're really saying this to ourselves. We are bringing up this energy, this feeling of loving kindness, of safety towards ourselves. Planting these seeds in the garden of our own mind. May I be free from suffering. May I be free from suffering. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. Feeling this energy of kindness, really saying to ourselves, may I be well, happy, and peaceful. May I be free from fear. May I be free from suffering. May I be free from confusion. May I be at peace. So now feeling this energy in ourselves, this feeling of loving kindness, of loving friendliness, I invite you to join your hands together with me as we dedicate our practice not only for ourselves, but to share this quality of peace, this quality of compassion with all beings. Repeating after me, may all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. May all beings be safe and comfortable. May all beings be free from fear. May my practice help all beings to feel at peace. May my practice help all beings to feel safe. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. And may I share that practice with all beings. May it be so. May it be so. May it really be so. All right, so thank you so much, everyone, for joining online. This will be the end of our group meditation together. I appreciate everyone who showed up and brought this practice into their day today. I hope that you will continue to make this practice a part of your life and that you will share it with those around you. Okay? Take care, everyone. That is the end of our live stream together. Thank you for joining.